are live, everybody. So, just checking with my technical director to make sure the Facebook stream is up and live for everybody. But welcome to the pre-show for Trending, everyone. We'll go live with everybody else via the radio in about the next 4 or 5 minutes, I suppose. But for now, welcome. Thanks for joining us. And at any time, just say hello in the chat. Let us know where you are watching and listening from today.
Yep, we are not only live via Facebook, but also YouTube. So
on the
both are up
YouTubes
at the moment. You can watch either way. And my phone's reminding me to go to the gym, which I have never, ever once looked at that reminder. That's been on my phone for months.
Yep.
And followed said reminder.
Do you actually have a membership you're paying for, though?
I do.
Wow. How long have you been paying it for?
A while for sure.
Start of the year? Like pre-wedding, probably?
Oh, yeah, pre-wedding.
Yeah. It's like, oh, well, obviously got to get in shape for the wedding.
And then sometimes we go, like but there is no
Yeah.
consistency
Right.
whatsoever.
Right. I'm actually thinking of doing Muay Thai this afternoon, just to
Yes.
make you feel even less athletic.
How is your wrist?
Fine. Yeah,
good.
not too bad.
Yeah.
I
I played netball last night.
Oh, well, that's something. That's
Yeah.
all right. That still counts.
Yeah.
This is the thing. I think people make fitness too hard for themselves. Like they assume they've got to do something horrific, like running.
Running's bad for you, man. You should do it.
Running is bad for you. You know any long-term runners who still have knee cartilage? Because I don't. Ugh.
Yeah, well, look, I play a lot of netball and I don't have much knee cartilage, so. Anyway.
Let that be a lesson to you. If you are a runner, make your best case in the chat below. What can I tell you as a heads up? Do you guys make up songs, by the way? Do you guys have like tunes, random tunes for stuff? It's very much a part of my life. Just general. I wouldn't even call them real songs. They're just progressions of notes that don't really resolve.
Why are people watching, Andrew?
For this very reason. So we are going to be going through the top headlines according to your Google searches. So don't blame me. You were the one looking for it, weren't you? Or your friends or family. Everyone's like, no, I would never. Well, someone is, aren't they? To be honest, nothing too scandalous today. Some nice heart warmers, actually, from the old Emmys. We got a New Zealand connection for the Emmys.
We do indeed, actually.
Yeah.
I was surprised, I must admit. I didn't know that she was a Kiwi.
Oh, see, I did because I watched the series and then you start looking up who are these people and then you go like, oh. Actually, the sweetest thing, I don't know if I'll be able to find it, but there was a clip of this said person, and if you already know, then hats off to you, but on the red carpet, and there was an actress who was speaking to them saying how, wow, I really love your work, and then you could just tell they were so moved, like so overwhelmed by the whole thing, because, well, I feel like I'm giving away the whole thing. So I'm going to stop. But let's just say if you've seen Shogun.
Yeah, this is the pre-show, so we can't, we
can only say so much at this point before we go live with the rest of our adoring radio audience. Is it just me or is it quite warm in here now?
It is
okay?
a little bit.
Are you good?
I'm fine, but yeah.
I mean, I'm comfortable. There's a fine line. There's a fine
You
line.
also look very dapper today. Was there a reason for the dress coat?
I just thought, I almost wore a shirt as well. And then I thought, Josh is okay, so you can thank my wife for this. She said, don't wear a shirt because Josh is probably just going to be wearing a jumper. And if you look really fancy and he looks really cash, he's going to look even worse.
I do actually appreciate that from Marky, but maybe that's a correct, visual distinction for those viewing on the stream as to who's in charge and who's just the producer.
I don't think anyone watching wonders who's in charge. I don't think that's ever been
That's
a
never
question.
been a question.
No one's been like, but who's calling the shots here?
Wait, is it Josh's show or is it Andrew's show?
Or is he the puppet master?
Yeah.
So
we all know I'm
expertly
really
pulling the
puppet master.
strings.
Yeah.
Exactly. About 2 minutes to go, guys, until we are live with everybody else. Let me just double check and see. Yeah, there we go. Confirmation from my offsite technical director that we are in fact streaming. So that's great.
Yeah, we've got a few people watching right now via the Facebook
Nice.
and a few
Hello,
on,
friends.
The YouTube as well. Say hello down in the little chat or the little comment box below. Let us know you're watching, where from as well, and do you expect any particular stories to arise?
Let us know. Who do you reckon's going to be leading the charge today? Who are you expecting to see? And we will go from there. I don't want to give stuff away. What else is in here? I will say maybe we need to line up. Josh, you can see the sporting related topic that is in the trends, right? Do we need to line up an interview with somebody about this at some point? Like how this has suddenly become a much bigger thing. I think it's a lot bigger than people realize, because this particular sport turns up in our searches very consistently.
Oh, yes. Right. Yeah, but who would we connect with for an interview in that regards?
I think we could try and talk to somebody from City Kickboxing.
Yes.
That could be cool. Reach out, see who's keen to chat.
Isn't the gym literally across the road?
Well, we are in the city, so it's not too far from here, I'm pretty sure. Those who know City Kickboxing will know why we want to talk to these people. It's not just for kickboxing. All right, let me make sure everything's where it needs to be. Okay, we're almost live, everyone, so thank you again for joining us for the pre-show. When you hear us again, it will be the real show, joined by hundreds, if not thousands, around New Zealand. Or should I say Aotearoa, because it's Te Wiki o Te Reo Māori.
Yeah, well done.
So, I should have got trending translated, but I didn't.
You should.
I didn't think of that.
Too late.
Oh, well, opportunity missed. Next time. Okay, here we go, team.
Live on air and online. Trending with Andrew Curtis.
No mai, hi to mai, everybody. Welcome to Trending this Wednesday, the 18th of September, 2024. Another opportunity to get together and enjoy each other's company through the wonders of modern technology. So yes, of course, if you're listening to us via the radio, welcome along to the show. But why don't you try something a little different and join the tens of people who are currently watching the show as well, Josh. And of course, you can do that by going to the Rima website, rima.co.nz, clicking through to either Facebook or to YouTube, because of course this show is not just a radio show, but it's a show you can watch along with us. But what will you be watching if it's your first time with us today? Well, I have often found a tension between the news headlines that lead our nightly bulletins and the ones that other people seem to be interested in. And in other words, what do we go looking for more information about? If only there was some way to know. Well, thankfully, because we live in the age of the algorithm, there is a way to know. And we are able to uncover things like Google search algorithms, or even just using the algorithms in action on the web pages of our major news services to find out what stories were the most popular. What does it tell us about the things that Kiwis really care about? What's really captured their attention? The serious and the silly, the head-scratching, and the discussion-provoking. So to join me in this, as always, producer Josh Beatty. Good to see you again, mate.
Oh, good to be here. Kia ora e te whānau. Happy to wiki o te reo Māori. Feel free to jump into the chat if you are watching on the stream and leave a little bit of a comment below. What do you reckon might be coming up in the trending stories from the week that was?
Oh, you know what strikes me even as you say that? I wonder if Māori Language Week is going to be trending.
I wonder, but next week.
But maybe next week, right? I mean, we've had Monday and Tuesday. I will say, as of right now, we might do another wee bit of a check before the end of the show. But very interesting to see kind of what pops up there. Maybe there are other sources people are using to track down this kind of info as well right now.
Well, maybe you go to the Māori Language Commission website just directly rather than Googling it.
And take this the right way, it could also be a symptom of its own success. That it's not so much of a novel thing now. It's actually, I think, fairly common spread.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, the use of te reo, even though there was a lot of discussion around the government's use of English in te reo and so on and so forth. But look, this is not where we conjecture over what the top headlines might be. We dive in and find out exactly what they are, and then we share them with you. So with that in mind, let's take a look at our first story.
With Andrew Curtis.
What was the most popular news story in the country? Well, actually, we'll start with the least and then work our way up from there. Number 16 always makes me nervous when I see this, because I wonder who's been stranded somewhere, whose baggage has gone missing, what plane has burst into flames. Of course, I am talking about Jetstar.
Yep, Jetstar up in the trending results for this week that was, but for a quote-unquote good reason.
I would say it's a good reason.
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty positive reason. And for people who have been looking to travel internationally, Jetstar has provided a new opportunity for them, a new gateway into and out of the country. So we're about to take a look at a story now which expands on why Jetstar would be, in fact, the number 16 news story in the country over the last week. Okay, so in terms of searches over the last week, that means there's around about a little over 2,000 that we're trying to find more information about Jetstar. But Josh, what should people be looking out for on this story?
Well, I've previewed this story, and I will say, listen for the predicted amount of Australians that are going to come to Hamilton. According to the Hamilton Mayor,
Interesting. Well,
I'm just going to say I was a little bit shocked as to her prediction.
Well, look, if you're shocked as well, remember to share your thoughts with us throughout the day. You can text us as usual, 8168 with the first word Rima, or...
Oh, yes, of course. Down on the stream below, the comments, you can comment with... when you're on the stream, rima.co.nz for both the Facebook and the YouTube.
You can tell I caught Josh out there and he kind of
I was
momentarily
about
panicked.
to cut to the
Right.
moment so that it was split screen for the story that you're about to show.
Right.
And so I was in the middle of doing that cut because I controlled the stream deck here, but then also you threw to me and I was not ready for it.
Well, with all that said, let's dive into it. This is our first story. Jetstar, they were the number 16 trending news story. Let's see what the Mayor of Hamilton has to say.
Look, today's a culmination of a lot of hard work for the last 12 months, but we're incredibly excited to...
That's not the Mayor of Hamilton. That's the Hamilton Airport Chief Executive.
Yeah, but the mayor is coming up.
I just thought I'd point that out because obviously I make it sound like I knew who this person was and clearly did not.
be able to introduce international services back into Hamilton and the mighty Waikato. Both Gold Coast and Sydney, so we'll have one service a day, 4 from Sydney and 3 from the Gold Coast over the span of the 7-day period. And it now provides us with the facilities to accommodate other international services. We have the border agencies will be in place, so the airport will be better prepared for those future opportunities.
I think it's good for the area, rather than travelling all the way to Auckland and jumping on a plane from there. Is the price going to make a difference?
But today is that actually we can feel like in future it's going to be very busy place for everyone, not even for taxi driver, but it's very convenient for customers, public and airport staff and everything.
But it also means, of course, that up to 65,000 predicted Australians can come to Hamilton and experience what we've got, all the wider Waikato, because, Hamilton is a fabulous place to be. Our events are first class. We've had FIFA, we've had the darts, we've had World Pool recently, but we've also field days, for example, another massive event.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're estimated to have 100,000 extra passengers coming through the district. So, some of them will be tourists, some of them will be scoping out business opportunities, which of course Waipa's well placed to accommodate both. And look, it's a great story for the Waikato district in its totality.
I think it's a fantastic announcement. What it really shows is that the Waikato is a vibrant economic powerhouse. So to have international connections back out of Hamilton Airport is great news.
For us at the hotel, we can have more people coming through, really enjoying that exotic excitement of going overseas. Absolutely. I used it myself some years ago when it was international. It was very sad. It went, maybe it's use it or lose it. So for now, everybody, please, let's really step forward and enjoy this amazing opportunity that's so easy.
So that was an article courtesy of the Waikato Times and relating to Jetstar being the number 16 most popular search term in the country. A lot of things to pull out of that one, Josh. The exotic destination, exotic experience of a round trip to Hamilton. God bless you if you live in Hamilton, but I think we all know.
I'm going to get in so much trouble for saying this, but the mayor there predicting 65,000 Australians would like to come to Hamilton. Because, if you're in the Gold Coast,
right?
You're thinking,
oh, this temperature, this climate, all these tourist activities.
I will say, though, she did expand to the greater Waikato region.
Right, okay.
Which, of course, does include...
Hobbiton.
Exactly.
Right. Touché. That's true. And, I mean, look, the field days thing's a legitimate point as well. I mean, it is one of the larger farming events in the Southern Hemisphere. So, also, too, though, there was another number that was cited of over 100,000 people.
Yeah, well, I don't know if that is Kiwis trying to leave Hamilton or people coming to Hamilton. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you can just hear us dancing between the landmines today. When you are on a station that is listener supported and so many of those supporters are of the farming persuasion, you are careful not to bite the hand that feeds you.
I'm not saying anything about the farmers. I'm saying actually.
What, about the place that they live?
No, just the Tron. Just Hamilton
yeah,
in general.
That's much better. All right, moving on.
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
Let's continue then to march through the news headlines that you went looking for. That's right. You went into Google and said, I want to know more about what? Well, when you weren't searching for Jetstar, the next thing that you were looking for was more entertainment related. And so PS5 Pro. For all the grandparents and parents out there, or maybe just financially solvent teenagers, PS5 Pro coming in at number 14. More than 5,000 searches for that one.
Yeah, a lot of people interested in the reveal of the new PlayStation 5 Pro.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, we've got a video, and listen out for the cost of this new console because it's spinny.
It's spinny.
It's spinny.
Spinny. I don't know spinny.
Cha-ching.
Right. Okay. So with that
A
said,
pretty penny.
here it is then, your number 14 story from the last week. More than 5,000 people searching for more information about the PS5 Pro.
After years of rumors, speculation, and leaks, the PS5 Pro was officially revealed in a technical presentation by PlayStation's Mark Cerny, a brilliant, soft-spoken man who manages to constantly have the energy of the scientist nobody believes at the beginning of a natural disaster movie. Mark has a knack, and I promise that's the first and last knack joke I'll make today, hopefully, for explaining detailed and sophisticated advancements in console hardware in a way that the average simpleton who just wants to play good-looking games on their TV can understand. After all, since the dawn of video games, one of the primary needs of the average consumer, outside of the far more important question of, is it fun, has been, does it look cool? Well, trying to pitch the technical abilities of a super powerful console using side-by-side footage presented in a live-streamed YouTube video most people watch on their 5-year-old phones obviously has its own set of challenges since you can't really tell the difference. But the biggest hurdle to get people to buy a PS5 Pro isn't just convincing them to head down to their local Best Buy so they can see all the glorious new dirt textures being added to The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, a slightly prettier version of a game most of us played in 2020. No, it's the price. And when it comes to the PS5 Pro, it's a huge one. That's because the PlayStation 5 Pro, the new.
Okay, before we give it away, guesses in the chat right now, okay? Guesses in the chat. What do we reckon? What do we predict?
Keyword.
Let's turn your mic on.
That was my fault. 8168 with the keyword life. Also to comment via, of course, the traditional way, the text. But down below in the comments, if you are streaming, somebody saying $1,000.
Ooh.
1,000 US though, because this is.
Oh yeah, and it always bites you too whenever you're looking for a technology review. As somebody who does this as well, because you always hear prices in the US, but they never take into account like their state taxes and all this other stuff. So you're like, oh cool, so 500 US, 60 cents of the dollar. That's going to be about 700 New Zealand, and then it turns out to be like 1,000 New Zealand dollars because of stuff.
Oh, another comment below saying around maybe $700. Again, they did specify NZD, so
okay, all right,
maybe not.
Let's have a look. Drum roll, please.
Newest and most high-end model in the PlayStation console family costs $700 in the US, which is over $900 in the UK, over $1,000 in Canada. It's also adorably all digital, meaning it doesn't come with a disc drive. If you own or plan on owning and playing your PS5 games off of a disc, you'll have to buy a PS5 disc drive to do it. And that'll be an additional $80. Also, it doesn't come with a vertical stand. I don't need one of those, but that'll run you an extra $30 in case you want your PS5 to not look like it's fallen and can't get up.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
One thing I'll always love about tech reviewers is their commitment to the meme. So, all right, so $700 US, which would mean, I would say conservatively then, it would be about 1,400 New Zealand, wouldn't it?
Yeah, pricey. And also, it doesn't have the ability to stand up on its own. As you saw there, he mentioned you have to buy an attachment, a stand, $30 US.
Again, yeah.
To just have it. It is designed to stand on its end. It's not designed to sit on its side.
I feel like this is going to be one of those occasions where, you've seen bookcases made of old cinder blocks and off-cut timber.
Oh, yeah.
So someone's just going to steal a couple of H blocks and then just prop up their PS5 in between it.
Oh, if you've got a big enough bookshelf, you could use it as like a bookstop, and then it would stand up.
Multifunctional and good looking. And most importantly, though, would you get one? Josh Beatty, are you a console gamer?
I'm mainly a PC gamer, I will say.
PC
I've had
Master
a console, Race? Yeah. I've had a console and a PlayStation particularly.
Yep.
I'm not an Xboxer.
Yep.
I don't know what they term themselves anyway.
Endangered, I think. That's a whole other thing. What is an Xbox pronoun? G and je, I think, on account of the X's.
No, but No, it's just not worth it. It's just, especially considering if you do have a backlog of games on a disc, you cannot play them on said console because you have to buy, yet again, another attachment.
Absolutely. And I mean, the great thing with PC gaming as well, as a fellow member of the PC Master Race, is that you can have these archives of like super old games that you can just crank out at any time in the past. And then they go on sale for like $3 during like the big summer sales and that kind of stuff in the US. So,
you know what I wonder?
Go on.
Look, the Rima audience may be not counted or not thought of as gamers, but I bet there's more out there than we think.
Gamers represent right now.
That's right. If you're watching or even listening right now and you do game in any fashion, let us know how. I'd be interested to know from a Rima perspective.
Yes.
Across New Zealand, Aotearoa, how are you gaming? PC,
Love it.
console, any other way? Mobile phone, maybe.
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
Bit of a change of pace, though, for this next story. We're going to go internationally. We've been mostly driven so far by the Google search stats in New Zealand, but again, the algorithms reach further afield than that. And so we're taking a look at some of the international news services to find out what's going on. And I will say, too, conspicuous in its absence in New Zealand, but I know very much still in the hearts of those who live in the Middle East, is the Israel and Gaza conflict. It is ongoing. And of course, one of the major news services there is Al Jazeera. Now, Al Jazeera has an interesting reputation insofar as it's been seen broadly as a better version of the BBC in some circles over the last little while. I know. Look at the eye raise. Look at the eyebrow raise, everybody.
Hold on. I have to talk because the camera's not cutting to me. Oh, here we go. This is the eyebrow raise. Okay, that was a little bit exaggerated.
It was, the moment was... Moving on. So the concern, though, is that, of course, the funding for Al Jazeera is very much tied to those in Qatar who are perhaps morally ambiguous. Though, look, there's so many different sides to this. How many? We'll just keep going. People, of course, raised criticism about the ongoing conflict now between Israel and Gaza and the ongoing toll that's taken on the civilian population. Where are things at right now, and how has it even impacted their ability to rescue the hostages that, of course, were the main reasons for this conflict in the first place? Let's have a look at this article then from Al Jazeera, which was, by the way, the #1 news story on Al Jazeera, speaking particularly about Israel's war on Gaza and the bombardments there, and, of course, the civilian toll that it continues to take.
Niles, the army has confirmed 3 captives who died in Gaza late last year were killed by Israeli shelling. The bodies of Elia Toledano, Nick Bazier and Ron Sherman were recovered in December. Israel had previously denied responsibility for their deaths. Military officials say at the time of the attack, there was no intelligence indicating captives were held at the location where they were killed. A senior Hamas official says the group still has enough resources to keep fighting in Gaza despite nearly a year of war. Osama Hamdan's comments come less than a week after Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant told reporters Hamas no longer exists as a military formation in Gaza.
The number of casualties in Hamas is much less than what is expected in a battle of this size, level and breadth. Hamas has a high ability to continue. But to say that its ability today is like the first day, this is not logical, because we sustained 1 year of war. In this war, there are sacrifices which make you different from the first day. There were martyrs and there were sacrifices on a military level, but in return there was an accumulation of experiences and the recruitment of new generations into the resistance.
Let's bring in Marwan Bashara, Al Jazeera's senior political analyst, and he's joining us via Skype from Paris. Good to see you, Marwan. Let's begin with the story of the Israeli captives and the Israeli military admitting that they were most likely killed in an Israeli airstrike. What do you make of them saying that they didn't have the intelligence indicating the captives were at the site of the attack?
I need to start by underlining something that we have spoken about for the whole year. Israel lies. Netanyahu lies pathologically. And when the Israelis speak about everything, whether it is the hostage, whether it is the pretext for the bombings themselves, whether it's Hezbollah missiles or Yemeni missiles, Israel lies. And Israel has many friends in Western capitals that also lie on behalf of Israel. There are entire establishments, foreign ministries, defense ministries, public relation companies, institutes in the West and in Israel that lie on behalf of the Israeli government. That certainly includes most of the media that continues to focus on the 100+ Israeli captives while ignoring the 10,000+ new Palestinian captives in Israeli captivity that were basically collected randomly the past year and were basically pushed into unknown prisons, tortured, raped, attacked in various ways, with countless reports now being exposed or exposing the Israelis for what they're doing. But the focus continues on the 100+ Israeli captives, many of whom are soldiers, because Israel continues to drive the agenda. The United States continues to drive the agenda. Israel will continue to fight its war in Gaza. It will continue to bomb its Gaza. And probably the Netanyahu government, of its fascist and fanatic ministers, will continue to hope, I think, that the Israelis will end up either rescued or dead, because they do not want to negotiate any further any sort of a permanent ceasefire with the Palestinians.
So fascinating to get some insight from the Palestinian perspective. And of course, again, as you can hear, some very harsh criticism of the Israeli government there. I'm reminded of that quote that says the first casualty of war is truth. And it's very hard to know who is being honest and who is not. We have Hamas reporting on statistics within Gaza. They can't be completely believed. I don't believe that all the stats that come out from the Israeli military can be completely believed either. What struck me the most, Josh, was to realize that it's been almost a full year.
That is actually what struck me quite a lot as well. And the idea that was sort of commented on and maybe not said specifically but underlying was that we don't expect this to end anytime soon. We expect that, unfortunately, this will continue and that there is means for this to continue on both sides.
And so we would say at this particular point as well, as much as we do love your comments, this is another thing too to remember to continue to pray for. It is almost a year now. Many lives have been lost, continue to be impacted by all this. And yet, what is remarkable too is that this is not a trending news story in New Zealand.
That is also, that's quite a shock, isn't it? That is not something that we have invested in. We are looking at the trending stories from the week that was, using particularly Google Trends, but others as well. This was trending on Al Jazeera, but not here in New Zealand. We weren't specifically searching for more news on this, at least according to the Google Trends.
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
Bringing things back then to New Zealand, and it is quite the change of pace, but nevertheless, we have a few entertainment stories for you right now. And at this point, we actually have the number 15 news story in the country. It's a Jackson, but maybe not a Jackson you're too familiar with. Tito
Jackson.
Tito Jackson.
Sadly passed away recently.
Yes, the brother of Michael Jackson. And, I mean, gosh, when your brother's Michael Jackson... You'd feel like every time there was a family dinner, it's like, oh, so how have you been? Like, what's been going on? You know, you've got your story. But do you want to go before or after Michael Jackson shares what he's been up to? Because, mind you, there's also curious questions about what exactly Michael Jackson will say he has been up to. That's a whole other conversation, which we won't go into detail about.
I wasn't going to go there, but okay. Shall we move on?
Shall we move on? I just thought it's kind of a tragedy as well when you become a punchline, and it reminded me of this particular moment from Rush Hour with Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan.
You must take me to see Council Hall right away.
Man, just sit there and shut up. This ain't no democracy.
Yes, it is.
No, it ain't. This is the United States of James Carter now. I'm the president, I'm the emperor, I'm the king. I'm Michael Jackson, you Tito. Your ass.
So there you go. That's the legacy that Tito Jackson has left the world. If it wasn't for that scene, I'm not sure I would have even been familiar with Tito Jackson, which is probably a little bit harsh, but otherwise true for a lot of us.
Well, he did choose actually to only pick up a solo career in his 60s. Oh. So he could have chosen to go solo earlier.
What was he doing before that?
I'm not too sure, to be honest. I think he was just working behind the scenes on various projects, but actually released his own solo... What?
I just love when people say, oh, you know, we're working behind the scenes on various projects. You've been unemployed for 20 years. That's what you've been. You've been unemployed for 20 years. Tell you what, though, there's somebody else who has not been unemployed.
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
And she is in our top search terms because, of course, there is a New Zealand connection. Anna Sawai.
Anna Sawai recently winning an award at the Emmys.
That's right.
And actually a bit of a record as well, I believe, was broken.
That's right. Very popular show, Shogun. And so we're about to dive into this story right now with Anna Sawai. And anything else we should keep our eyes open for?
Well, not only because this story is going to cover a lot of the Emmys, not only the moment of Anna Sawai, but also listen out for the surprising category that the beer was nominated for and also won quite a few awards in.
Okay, so surprising categories, but a New Zealand connection. Anna Sawai. Now, by the way, she was the number 5 trending news topic person search term in New Zealand over the last week. Let's relive the glory.
Born actress has made history at this year's Primetime Emmy Awards. Anna Sawai taking home the Emmy for Best Lead Actress in a Drama for her role in Shogun. Also winning big, The Bear, and Netflix's smash hit Baby Reindeer. Ellie Pugh has the action.
Live from the Peacock Theatre, it's the 76th Emmy Awards.
Tinseltown's TV heavyweights back in celebration mode.
Also known as broadcast TV's biggest night for honouring movie stars on streaming services.
One of those top honours going to our very own Wellington-born actress Anna Sawai.
Anna Sawai Shogun!
Awarded Best Lead Actress in a Drama Series.
This is the first Emmy win.
The category saw Sawai up against Hollywood royalty, including Reese Witherspoon and Jennifer Aniston.
I was crying before my name was announced. I'm a mess today.
Sawai's now life-changing role in the Japanese samurai epic Shogun, which also won Best Drama. It makes her the first actress of Asian descent to win the top award.
Mom, I love you. You are the reason I'm here. You showed me stoicism, and that's how I was able to portray Mariko. This is to all the women who expect nothing and continue to be an example for everyone.
The ceremony also saw British TV hit Baby Reindeer sweep multiple categories.
Tonight, they take home 4 Emmys.
I never ever thought I'd be able to rectify myself with what had happened to me and get myself back on my feet again. And then here I am, just over a decade later, picking up one of the biggest writing awards in television, yeah?
Hacks taking out Best Comedy.
Please support comedy. It speaks truth to power.
And The Bear continuing its Emmy success.
Jeremy Allen White, The Bear.
Picking up several acting awards in a comedy.
This show has changed my life. It has instilled a faith that change is possible.
The award win sure to change the life of Anna Sawai, her name now part of Emmy history. Ellie Pugh, One News.
Cool story. Also, though, some strange observations made there. I love the one who said, support comedy. It speaks truth to power. It's like, that's why I choose a comedy. When I get on Netflix, I'm like, but which one speaks truth to power? If only there were more powerful comedies.
But did you hear about this? A little bit of a controversy, a mini controversy, I would say.
Yeah.
With the fact that The Bear won many awards for a comedy series. Are you aware of The Bear?
I am
TV
aware
show?
that it is about the culinary arts and starting a restaurant. And it seems like if I had ever worked in a restaurant, that show would give me PTSD.
Yeah, 100%.
It is brutal. I mean, again, for those of you who've ever worked in a hospitality role before, I take off my metaphorical cap to you because it is a punishing industry. And from what I've seen, I couldn't actually watch that series. I think I watched like one episode. I was like, nope, this is not entertaining, restful, relaxing in any way.
It's quite intense, isn't it?
It's so intense.
Andrew, would you describe it as a comedy?
Not even slightly. Not even slightly.
I mean, even the hosts of the show made a little bit of joke about this, saying in the sort of essence of The Bear, we're not actually going to make any jokes about the fact that it is in the comedy section because The Bear doesn't make jokes.
No.
So, yeah, a bit strange to see it not only in that category, but also like almost sweeping and taking away the majority of the awards.
I feel like they wanted to give it some awards, but they knew that Shogun would smash it. So they did a little bit of a, just shuffle it over into another category.
I will say Helen's actually got in touch via the stream to say, I really did enjoy Shogun, have not seen The Bear.
Shogun is awesome. Can I look? I'm looking straight down the barrel, by the way, if you're on the stream right now. This is me talking to you. Shogun is, here's the thing about it in particular. Well, actually, that's hard to say. Here's one thing that I really enjoyed. There's a lot of stuff about it. You know, you're driven towards hyperbole if you live in radio, but there's a lot of other shows that have tried to make their name by being excessively like sexual and gratuitous like that. Shogun, for a start, is probably 2/3 in subtitles. Now, that might sound like a barrier to entry. It's really not. But it's also just everything is so beautiful, so tastefully shot. The storyline is immaculate. And yet you wouldn't be embarrassed watching it sitting next to your mum. Which, you know, if you compare that to, say, House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones, those sorts of things that have become more popular in recent times, there's a certain creative license taken with the content that I think people are feeling like, well, you just have to do that these days to have a successful show. That is not what they've done in Shogun, and it is so good. And Anna Sawai is amazing.
Well, there you go. That's a raving review from you, and a recommendation, I suppose.
And I hate everything.
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
No, not at all. Let's continue, though, to take a look at the news stories that were the most popular in the country over the last week. And I have a feeling we might get a little repeat taste of this particular one. But Trump-Harris debate. Trump-Harris debate. That was your number 4 in the country. How popular was it? I am glad you asked, because it turned out the Trump-Harris debate had around 20,000 searches for it. 20,000. Now, imagine again, though, this was probably about 6 or 7 days ago. So it's right on the cusp of last week coming into this week. Wow.
Do we assume then that this also means that a lot of people were looking for footage or coverage, I should say, of the debate itself? At the moment it was happening, people were probably heading to Google, punching this in because they wanted to view it, which also speaks to why it was trending, because we cared enough to find it and watch it.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it is relevant enough to New Zealand. I think the dark side of this is that we can sometimes import the cultural landscape of the US into New Zealand. And I love to remind myself that as much as things are so polarized there, one of the merits of MMP is that I think you have a diffusion of everyone feels like they can vote for somebody. At least, you know, they've got an option. I know there's been occasions where I'm like, there's nobody that I really resonate with right now. But in the US, you've literally got one or the other. And the power systems are so entrenched that you are not going to have a third voice pop up anytime soon in the United States. So we still want to know what is happening in the most influential nation in the world. So I guess we go searching for more information about it, don't we?
Yeah, well, there was a video that actually arose post the debate, which we wanted to show for you now. And it's, again, maybe a little bit surprising. Listen for the Fox News take, which, of course, we know usually the Fox News lean in terms of the debate, the politics in the United States. But listen to their surprising take on the most recent presidential debate.
Now, look, make no mistake about it. Trump had a bad night. He rose to the debate repeatedly when she baited him, something I'm sure his advisors had begged him not to do. In the first debate when Biden attacked him, he just kept his cool and kept going. In this debate, he rose to a debate, and we heard so many of the old grievances that we'd long thought that Trump had learned were not winners politically. And there they all were, talking about how he didn't lose the election and all that. I mean, my sense is that she came out of this in pretty good shape. Now, how long this will last and is anybody's guess. But for tonight, at least, this was pretty much her night.
You're saying she had a good night?
I'm saying she certainly did.
Sean Hannity is in this.
So you're saying it was good. So you're saying he was bad. So you're saying what you're saying is, what are you saying? And he's not alone in this too, by the way, this observation that Trump came up short during that debate. It has been the consensus that I have seen in terms of his responses and this idea that Kamala, gosh, that's hardwired in.
I know, right? I mean, I did it last week and you corrected me well, so yeah. Kamala
Harris did manage to bait him a lot of times, get him off topic, get him talking about the things that, as that particular pundit was sharing there, made him seem like he's still grounded in things that are not political winners to talk about.
And certainly seeing Fox News and their reputation reporting in the negative to some degree on Donald Trump is surprising and speaks volumes to, the fact that he was baited and what that man said. There is some reality, some truth nuggets there that he probably needs to pick up on if he's going to fight back, shall we say.
Are you very familiar with the trajectory that he took with Fox News, though, when he was president?
To a small degree. I know that they recently had a lawsuit, right, due to the fact that there was some indiscretion.
When it started off, Donald Trump and Fox News were like this. They were like hand in hand. And as
you got to watch the stream for that.
That's right. I think people can hear the sound of this is the sound of two hands coming together, just like that.
That inaudible sound.
But as time went by, that relationship started to fracture. And then by the end of his presidency, actually it wasn't very positive between them at all.
Right.
So he had a couple of supporters, people like Sean Hannity, who are some of the leading lights on Fox, but others became more and more critical of the approach that he was taking as president. And it got to the point where I think he even started to reduce his appearances on Fox, started to appear on a rival One American News Network was another one that started to emerge in the last little while. So I guess you could still say, broadly speaking, the Fox News base is more pro-Trump than they are pro-Kamala.
Because he did appear on Fox News immediately following the debate to have a bit of a debrief. And so there's still some sort of cohesion there, I'd say.
Yeah, maybe we should check in with everyone as well right now. If you're joining us via the stream or listening along. Now, again, that story that we're talking about, the reason we're sharing it is it was a number 4 news story in the country. More than 20,000 people were searching for information about the Trump-Harris debate. But I want to know, Josh, do you think people listening to us right now are following the American election?
Oh, if you are, do let us know. 8168 keyword REMA. That is, of course, the text. But if you're watching the stream, a few more people actually jumping on in as we've been doing the show. Hi to you if you've just joined us recently. Leave a comment below. Are you following the presidential election at the moment? Or is it, something you just couldn't care less about?
Yeah, what's your take on it as well, even as an impartial enough bystander? Because I feel like just seeing the circus unfold step by step, it is something that makes me very grateful to be a New Zealander.
Sorry, yes, Helen's got in touch to say... couldn't care less.
Couldn't care less.
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
Too busy watching Shogun. That's the right choice. That's the right use of your time, Helen. You're going to feel much better in life having watched Shogun than having watched that presidential debate.
Also, Sharon says not following, too messy.
Yeah. Can't they all just get along? No, is the answer to that.
No.
So we can just move on to the number 2 news story in the country. Now, we actually picked this. We took a look at this last Wednesday under the belief that it would probably only rise in popularity throughout the course of the week. But Dave Grohl, number 2, again, more than 20,000 searches for Dave Grohl. Josh Beatty, who is Dave Grohl?
Dave Grohl is a very well-known rock star, part of the Foo Fighters, and recently has fallen from grace, shall we say. He was held up as quite a hero and an icon for many. But
there goes my hero. Watch him as he goes.
Yeah. He has had a child out of his current marriage and has said that he is, going to take care of the child, but also trying to mend his marriage. We've got a video for you. Take a listen as well, but also specifically listen for the unexpected second life this story has taken on.
Fans of Dave Grohl have expressed their anger at the Foo Fighters lead singer after he announced he had fathered a child with an unknown woman in a social media post. Grohl's admission sent shockwaves through his fan base, leading to a torrent of reactions on social media. Many fans expressed disappointment and anger, while others shared supportive messages for his family. The backlash intensified as misinformation continued to spread, fueled by the initial false Instagram post and speculation about the identity of the mother of Grohl's newborn. Despite the fake post, Grohl confirmed in a separate Instagram statement that he had welcomed a daughter with an unnamed woman outside his marriage. In his message, Grohl expressed his commitment to being a loving and supportive parent while acknowledging the strain his actions had placed on his family. Grohl and Jordan Bloom, who met in 2001 and married in 2003, were last seen publicly together in July 2024 at Wimbledon, where they appeared in good spirits. However, Grohl's demeanour during an interview at the event suggested underlying stress, with some fans now viewing the interaction in a new light following the recent revelations.
As I was writing this book, I started to realize that I have a funny relationship with pain. I don't really feel physical pain as much as I feel emotional pain. And yeah, I mean, if you add some adrenaline to that type of disaster, you're fine. Until you're left alone on a couch with a cast and a warm beer, and you think, oh God, this hurts. And,
In the wake of the controversy, Grohl's eldest daughters, Violet and Harper, deactivated their Instagram accounts, suggesting that the family grapples with public scrutiny and internal tensions. Reports also surfaced that Grohl had hired a divorce lawyer before making his announcement, further fueling speculation about the state of his marriage.
Can we just say the music there is doing a lot of heavy lifting? Always be wary of the music of anything you're watching, by the way. That's my little tidbit for you. If you consume any news online or anywhere, watch for music beds. Very sus.
Very attempting to grapple some emotion out of you is that music bed, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. So then let's talk about this Second Life. Josh, what stood out to you?
Well, very much so that the story when it broke, or even the speculation before the initial Instagram post, the fact that a lot of people took to trying to figure out who the child was, who the mother of said child was, and then not only even there in that story, the speculation that because his daughters have deleted their Instagram posts, that there must be infighting in the family. And
well, I mean, I can't imagine it's good for families in general.
No, but it is reading into the situation without the facts. I mean,
sure.
I think we can speculate and understand why that is speculation.
Yeah,
but
that's
do
true.
you need to comment on it?
Well, no. To be honest, what struck me was more stuff from the very beginning of that clip. And if you were watching it on the stream, you would have seen this. But for those who are only listening, one of the ways that people have been demonstrating their displeasure with Dave Grohl was to throw his biography across the room. Oh, Dave Grohl's biography. I cast you away into outer darkness.
Or into the trash, or they were yeeting it away, shall we say.
They were yeeting, as the kids want to do these days.
Oh, they used to. They don't anymore.
Have to say, in terms of choosing who your heroes are going to be, I mean, if your sense of well-being was based on the fidelity of a rock star,
I mean, that's a very good point.
Maybe poor choice of role model.
And that's been a lot of why this story has garnered quite a lot of attention, because Dave was held up as one of, quote unquote, the good guys.
Right,
and the fall from grace really has hurt a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, moral of the story is, I guess, be careful who your heroes are.
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
So we're moving towards number one today, and what the most popular news stories in the country have been. And, well, the number two news story, Josh's absolute favourite. It is irrepressible. We thought we were past it. And in fact, we speculated on why this particular style of news is so popular. But you know what? These last few weeks have shown me you cannot overcome the weather. And in New Zealand, the weather is once again, one of your top news stories. The number two, in fact, about 25,000 people searching for more information about the weather in the last week.
Yes, sports and weather. Like if we just went with the sports stories that were trending, it would be, we've talked about this before, you'd be just watching a sports show. I mean, we enjoy sports, myself and Andrew, but not so much that we're going to do a whole hour's show on it.
Oh, no.
But the weather also always consistently is up there. Number two trending. I want you to take a listen to this upcoming story, watching, of course, if you are looking via the stream. But listen to some of the ways that the weather has been described. I've been in broadcasting for a few years, you even longer than me. I've never heard until this story, some of the ways that the weather was described.
All right, listen out for your favorites. Here we go. This is why weather was your number two trending news story in the country. Second most popular, more than 25,000 searches for weather. Is it because of reporting like this?
What a brutally cold and rough day for some, but things are starting to improve. The fronts clear away to the eastern New Zealand tonight and tomorrow, but leave an unstable westerly flow over us all. More fronts start to approach from the southwest. They hit up the mainland during Thursday and Friday. The one little beacon of hope is a brief narrow ridge on Saturday. Ki te Waiponamu to the South Island tonight. Rain for Fiordland, mainly fine skies everywhere else out west. Partly cloudy with isolated showers most other places. It is a very cold morning with frost to start for lots. Showers with hail for Fiordland and the south coast. A few spots of rain for the southeast.
And then what? This is the sound of the news story buffering, by the way. 39 seconds in. Will we ever find out what it was that they describe the news as. You know what I'm going to do? This is the perils of live broadcasting, everyone. But I'm just going to refresh the story and see if we can get it to play again properly for us. So here we go. Now, you see, now we've got an ad we have to get out of the way. So we're just going to do that very quickly as well. But the weather described in ways you've never heard before. I wonder if it's a reflection of the fact they've kind of got to sportify it. You know, gamify the weather.
Well, this is maybe the fact because the weather is reported on so often and we care about it so much that if you're going to report on it every single day, you've got to come up with something new and exciting about it, right?
All right, well, let's head back to the story now. I think we've got the story back up and running correctly. So let's see what they did have to say about it that was so unusual in this 3 News broadcast.
Then showers spread up the west coast in the afternoon and evening, potentially laced with hail. For the North Island, showers for the lower half overnight, falling as snow to 400 metres.
Saw some hail yesterday, by the way. Very exciting.
Heavy rain and thunderstorms for Gisborne. Tomorrow it is improving, some waking to frost. Early showers clear Wellington, Wairarapa and Gisborne, and fine spells with showers everywhere else. So, early frost around the Waikato. The southwesterly will be reduced to just fresh. Then it will ease further tomorrow night. Fine spells through the day. Frosty for pretty much everyone here. The day starts fine with fresh west to southwesters. Everyone may have a few afternoon showers, but dry for Whakatane. Mainly fine and with frost out east. The last showers for Gisborne and Masterton will clear before sunrise. West to southwest winds develop for all. And fine with morning frost for plenty of spots here. Showers return again from the afternoon or early evening. Winds will likely end up west or northwest during the morning. There'll be more early frost for the northwest of the south, dropping to 0 for most tonight. Cloud then increases with showers late morning and heavy with hail from the afternoon.
Gosh, it's hard work listening to an old weather forecast, isn't it?
Everyone starting the day in the negatives. High cloud then increases during the afternoon everywhere with winds turning westerly across the day. And frost first thing also for the lower south with cloud increasing, showers returning mainly from midday.
All right, well, we've probably heard enough of that then. What was it that stood out to you, Josh?
Well, there was a wintry wallop that was described.
Yeah, a wintry wallop, sure.
A tropospheric polar vortex.
Ooh, love one of those.
I mean, there was just she used a word and I wish I could remember it now, which just, I know that the weather is important. I know it affects our lives. I know particularly...
No, disclaimer, just come in hot. Josh, what is it?
When I don't know what you're talking about.
Come on.
What?
Well, I love
what does it matter?
I love how she said the weather had been downgraded to fresh. It's like,
oh yeah, exactly.
Where is the scale? Does this exist anywhere that I can go and look at?
It's feeling fresh.
It's like when people are trying to describe different types of rain, and there seems to be little behind the curtain thing for you. But at the Met Service, where we get our weather reports from, there's particular terminology that seems to be in vogue for a period of time, and so squally showers was very popular for a little while.
Squally thunderstorms?
A squally thunderstorm, a squally shower, squally rain, and just suddenly everything was squally for 2 weeks.
Yeah, it feels like somebody else has been writing the weather for a period until, somebody went on leave.
Got a new intern.
Exactly.
Exactly. Do you think that could be the intern's job? If you work for the Met Service, we just want to know who actually has to write these things. Like, is it like, you got to climb the ladder, as it were, to get to the point of being the person who writes the weather reports that then turn up on metservice.co.nz?
I mean, get in touch if you know, by the way, 8168 keyword Rema, or of course down below in the comments. I also will say, coming back to a previous conversation we've had in terms of the political debate.
Yes.
John got in touch to say it's hard to stay interested in such a broken political system.
Amen to that.
Trending with Andrew Curtis.
So why don't we talk about it some more? Hey, yo, number one.
What a segue.
Woo! Thanks for that, John. $5 is in the mail. Who would put $5 in the mail? What was I even thinking when I said that? Goodness me. Who even sends cash? Who even has cash? The point is this. Your number one news story in the country is Trump. Once again. No Harris this time.
No.
Just Trump.
No. So due to the recent assassination attempt, once again, he rose to the number one trending here in New Zealand, even outside again of the US. This is the trending results in New Zealand. We still did care about the story.
Yeah, exactly. And so we're going to bring some of this to you in just a moment. Josh, what stood out to you about this particular story itself?
Well, listen for the explanation of Biden's involvement in Trump's security detail, which was a little bit of a shock to me.
I mean, personally, I just don't think you'd want to have Biden involved in your security detail. Like, he seems very old, he seems very frail. I just don't know if he's
I don't
really
know
up
how
to it.
effective he'd be.
I just don't think. I mean, unless you're going for one candidate's as good as another. If he's there as a distraction, perhaps.
Imagine, hold on. Imagine the idea that they become each other's security detail and they have to protect each other.
Look, it might not be good for the politics, but as a buddy cop movie, absolutely unprecedented. Here we go. This is the update from the Secret Service chief.
Assassination attempt of former President Donald J. Trump on July 13th. The Secret Service moved to increase assets to an already enhanced security posture for the former president. In the days that followed, President Biden made it clear that he wanted the highest levels of protection for former President Trump and for Vice President Harris. The Secret Service moved to sustain increases in assets and the level of protection sought. And those things were in place yesterday. At approximately 1:30 p.m., former President Trump was playing golf during an off-the-record movement to the Trump International Golf Course. A Secret Service advance agent supporting the front edge of the agency's layered approach to protection encountered an individual attempting to secrete himself in the woodline. This happened, the alleged gunman was on the public side of the fence near the 6th green. As former President Trump was moving through the 5th fairway across the course and out of sight of the 6th green, the agent, who was visually sweeping the area of the 6th green, saw the subject armed with what he perceived to be a rifle and immediately discharged his firearm. The subject, who did not have line of sight to the former president, fled the scene. He did not fire or get off any shots at our agent. With reports of gunfire, the former president's close protection detail immediately evacuated the president to a safe location. The protective methodologies of the Secret Service were effective yesterday. The former president's protective apparatus allowed for the early identification of the threat and led to a safe evacuation. The increased assets directed by President Biden were in place yesterday. These included the counter-sniper team elements, counter-surveillance agents on the exterior, counter-assault teams partnered with local tactical assets from the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, and counter-unmanned aerial system elements. All of these entities were present yesterday.
So that's the update from the Secret Service. And Joe Biden also providing the directive that, of course, Donald Trump be given the highest level possible of protection.
Yeah, also including Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris.
Think
hard syllable at the start. That's the way to...
But I knew, right? And I was like, it's 50-50. And I chose wrong.
Right. Yeah, you kind of did.
Anyway. But yeah, the fact, I think his hand was forced, right? He can't not...
Well, so this is where it gets kind of interesting from my perspective, because there's all this information that's starting to emerge about the shooter, Ryan Ruth, and the fact that he was a loving and caring father who just sometimes wants to shoot a president. You know, who amongst us? It's always the way, right, with this sort of thing. There's the one side wants to humanize him and the other one wants to demonize the guy. But what was interesting about this was some content that was actually released by the Trump-Vance campaign. Now, the wider story around this has been that after the first assassination attempt in particular, there was some talk about lowering the temperature. Even Joe Biden appearing and saying, hey guys, we've got to lower the temperature. We've just got to calm things down a little bit. Well, after the second attempt, the Trump-Vance campaign have now put out lists of rhetoric that inspired another attempt on President Trump's life. In other words, the way that people have been speaking about Trump from the Democratic perspective and how they are to blame for what is continuing to occur. So there's a full list that's been made available. We've got people like Kamala Harris. Trump is a threat to our democracy and fundamental freedoms. It's on us to recognize the threat that Trump possesses. Does one of us have to come out alive? Ha, 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 ha. That's from Kamala Harris. Joe Biden, it's time to put Trump in a bullseye. I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Trump is a threat to this nation. There is one existential threat. It's Donald Trump. Also, Tim Walz, who is the vice presidential candidate. Are Republicans a threat to democracy? Yes. And are they going to put people's lives in danger? Yes. Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House. Trump is a threat to our democracy of the kind we have not yet seen. So if you're going to talk about somebody like this, what recourse do you think people would have? Other than to say, well, if the guy is that dangerous, surely that kind of behavior flows on from the way they've been talking about the guy.
Is it systemic of the hyperbole that now is just rife through
You and your systemic hyperbole, honestly.
Well, they do. They have to be so extreme. I mean, I saw old footage of the debate between, I think it was Nixon and
Kennedy?
Yeah. And the way they spoke about each other, they said, I will not comment on the personality or the,
sure?
The way, the
Actually, there was a great clip that was only in recent times too, back when it was Obama and McCain.
Yeah.
And people talking about how, people were saying at the time, Obama was secretly a Muslim and he's not really American. And this woman tried to say this to John McCain and he said, no, ma'am, he's a good man. We just disagree on what is best for America. That was only, 10 or so years ago.
And it feels like much less than that, which is crazy.
Doesn't it? So, look, in some ways, is it a case of reaping what you sow? I mean, are these things accurate about Donald Trump? Is he really an existential threat to America? I think in many cases, too, people feel as though as much as Democrats want to point the finger at the Republicans and say how corrupt they are, there are certain ways they've gone about securing the nomination for Kamala Harris that are also not the most democratic. So, will there be another attempt again?
Ooh. Are you asking that question?
I'm just going to let it hang in the air awkwardly because we've run out of time. So it is 1 o'clock now. Thank you so much for joining us for the last hour. We've been going through the search terms that were the most popular in the country. Number one there, Trump. Just simply Trump, with close to 30,000 searches as well in the last week. And I'm sure there'll be many more as well as we move towards the US election. But thanks again for joining us. Thanks for texting through. Thank you for joining on the live stream. Thank you, Josh Beatty, for helping make things happen on the technical front.
No worries.
And we'll see you again next week. I'm Andrew Curtis. That is trending for today, the 18th of September, 2024.